Hello there, Common Wolfram here. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is coming out Friday, May 12, 2023. The Sheikah Slate is gone and replaced by a new item tied to Link's waist. More on that one later down in the video. But this game was initially planned by the Zelda team as an idea for a final Fur Breath of the Wild DLC pack, one that would have been released in 2018, but which has since then grown to become the most ambitious sequel and Zelda game yet. Hence development also started at the end of 2017 and will come out over 6 years after Breath of the Wild. Quote series producer Eiji Onuma. When we wanted to add bigger changes, DLC is not enough, and that's why we thought maybe a sequel would be a good fit. One of the reasons we wanted to create a continuation was because I wanted to revisit that Hyrule again and use that world again, while incorporating new gameplay and a new story. End quote. The Zelda team has been far more secretive than in the past when it comes to the 20th Zelda game. So much so that between the reveal in 2019 and the 2022 September Nintendo Direct, which finally brought the reveal of the title, we only got 2 brief teaser trailers and 7 seconds of additional footage with the delay. Combined detailing returning characters, new layers to match these, combined elements and enemies and ties to times unknown, hinted in creating a champion in Japan Masterworks. All to deliver another 10 out of 10 masterpiece, which is harder to do after Red Dead Redemption 2 and Elden Ring. The first which many in the Zelda team have confirmed to have played, and the other which they have likely played. As we all know, the Zelda team revealed a game during E3 2019 on June 11th, and they did it to show the return of the Golden Trinity and the new Green Hand combining with Link, detailing a new underground with scenes taken straight from Ocarina of Time, aka the first Zelda game with Ganondorf. 2020 had no E3, we only got reassurances that the game is progressing well with the reveal of Age of Calamity.
Alright, here's the last thing we have to show you. This is the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Well, now The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. But back then, no title was revealed despite a very long section which could have revealed it. Turned to black for an aimed release in 2022, which did not hold more than 9 months before a launch update / delay announcement in March 2022. Still, a new sky layer and later tease of something beyond that. Skydiving, which was found drawn in patents, depicting combat and traversal across floating islands. First filed in June 2021, but discovered in December that year and updated at the end of August 2022. The entire second teaser was filled with divine Japanese-inspired locations and scenes tied to Skyward Sword, the source of everything in this unconventional trilogy, with the same Master Sword and its spirit, Fi, both attacked with malice by Mummy Ganondorf, damaging the blade, which was confirmed in front of a beam of light with the spring 2023 delay in March 2022. This is Link's new quest in May 2023, while Ganondorf chills in the covered in malice Hyrule Castle after possibly taking Princess Zelda hostage or maybe even taking her life. It still remains to be confirmed. But in the meanwhile, he has also turned Death Mountain in Eldin into a proper malice volcano, as seen in the key art for the box art of the game provided by Nintendo following the Nintendo Direct in September 2022 and the footage that we will dive much deeper into. But just to be sure, Ganondorf combined with his malice the enemies and mini-bosses that failed to stop Link in Breath of the Wild. In return, the hero of the wild, or in this case, Tears, got time and spirits, plus combined weapons and armor. Quote producer Aonuma, there will be an even wider variety of features you can enjoy, including new encounters and gameplay possibilities. Now we partially know what he was referencing, though most likely without aid from Sheikah shrines, towers and most weaponry. In other words, a turn from the power of Nehru's blue, that being of wisdom, to Farore's green of courage, life, spirits, and dragons. Ancient Sheikah to times unknown Zonai, the theorized 5th champion and element, and the September 2022 title reveal trailer made it even more clear. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. A title with many different meanings and is totally a metaphor. The initial one might tie to the tragic end of the Kingdom of Hyrule and possibly Princess Zelda after falling down. The second one, however, has a different symbolism, and it ties to the barely 30 seconds of new gameplay footage we got, or actually ties back to the E3 2021 second teaser. We're not exactly being spoiled yet when it comes to new footage, and the title of the game wasn't really a spoiler seeing that we already saw the tear from the hand as we moved up to the sky with it in 2021. The addition to the damaged Master Sword, however, in the logo might have been. This tier might be a reference and connection to a tier that looks remarkably similar to the tier we saw when Farron, the light spirit, first appeared in Twilight Princess after collecting, you guessed it, the Tears of Light. The logo of the game, the return of Ganondorf, the many swirls tied to Farore and Farron, and the high-tech extension of the Damage Master Sword might suggest the Zonai spirits might have been none other than the Twili, a tribe that is long dead, spirits, or maybe even divine. Either way, this is building up to become a current grand climax for the Legend of Zelda series after 20 games of different nature and character. A game that takes place across multiple layers of the same Hyrule. In fact, the 30 seconds of new gameplay footage provided through the Nintendo Direct, starting with Link opening the Dragonstone door, is filled with clues, running first towards the 2 dragon heads and one of the Torii Gate-inspired structures before cutting to Link running towards the pagoda-inspired building that might or might not be a temple or dungeon in this game. From here, skydiving head down vertically before adjusting to a more horizontal position, just like teased in the previous patterns, though with one notable extension to its pagoda, the stone tower above it. The same extension is also seen when Link is falling back down to the surface. There's also one other key detail which was also highlighted in the final box art of the game, the replacement of the Sheikah Slate on Link's waist with a new green item, or more specifically collecting 8 green runes, or perhaps they are called tears in this game, all likely tied to Link's new arm and its many functionalities tied to time and spirits. Alright, let's stick to the sky before we move down to the surface, which clearly is a part of the same map without any loading screens between. We have Link climbing the cliffs of the Sky Islands in the set introduced in 2021, but with a key difference, a brand new axe. Funny, since he's climbing up a tree root which might be of the Great Deku Tree who ended up here instead of being incinerated by Ganondorf. And that is it for the sky in this trailer. Well, at least the top layer of it. Since a lot of the tight reveal gameplay focused on the gameplay in between the 2 layers highlighted in this trailer. For some reason, not much underground footage in this one, though there was one hint to it. Entrance right before Link used the time reversal platform to take an elevator, or if you are British, lift up to the sky. And his location is also known thanks to the palm trees. Yes, this is in the middle of the Farron rainforest. But what Link gains, he also loses, as Death Mountain in Eldin is filled with malice, which we also saw as Link lands on a stone bird flying or floating platform above Tabanta Great Bridge between Hebra and Central Hyrule. Its shape reminds me a little of the raven used by my ancestors, the Norsemen, though more likely it is tied to pre-colonial American traditions. Anyway, in the background we see a carved and enlightened figure resembling Princess Zelda, but the big question is, which one? But since we're on the topic of carvings, the stone carving in the sky, dating long before the ancient battle tapestry, you know, the divine beast one which took place 10,000 years ago from Breath of the Wild. This is not the story of the triumph against Calamity Ganon, but a far earlier battle against none other than Ganondorf. A grand invasion of Ganondorf and his stronger minions with far longer horns than we saw in Breath of the Wild, which are back with the return of their master Ganondorf opposite them as soldiers with swords and shields that we did not see in Breath of the Wild. Truly an event that Link and Zelda had no idea about before and after the calamity. Then are these human-like figures Hylian? Most likely not. For one, they don't wear the royal armor seen in Breath of the Wild's tapestry, and that is definitely not the royal crest of the Kingdom of Hyrule. But what about the other human-looking character folding hands with the mysterious one which we are about to detail? Princess Zelda, but long-haired Zelda, so different Zelda from the Era of the Wild, or if you prefer, short hair, Era of Tears Zelda. One who might have been allied with the Zonai, or as I'm beginning to want to say, the Twili. Since what do we see above the 2 figures? 2 swirls, just like in Twilight Princess Midna's Fused Shadow, and there are far more connections to that game, including the dragons on the Fused Shadow, which are also found on the logo of the game itself, since the tears are actually once again of the Sheikah. And when it comes to the title of the game, Tears, but the original one that split multiple times across the timelines. Though in this case, I think we're talking about the first split, the Loyalists and the Interlopers, the latter ones which were banished to the Twilight Realm with the dark magic. Specifically, the Fused Shadow, which they used to control the Triforce until their opponent, the Light Spirit, sealed it away and allowed the ancient 7 sages to banish them to the Twilight Realm. It goes without saying, the Sheikah have always been close allies or enemies of the Kingdom of Hyrule. But the Tear and Eye has always been their origin. Just think of it. Tears of the Kingdom, and tears just like the ones we saw when bringing the Light Spirits back to life. Yes, the same tear as seen in the E3 2021 trailer when Link used a hand to get up to the sky. It is all connected, but who is the figure in the beginning of the trailer and holding hands with this Princess Zelda of the distant past? After writing with Celtic, we saw that one possibility is that it is the figure that held Ganondorf sealed for tens of thousands of years underground. Possibly even 100,000 years, since everything in Breath of the Wild goes in tens. 100 years, 10,000 years, so why not 100,000, or perhaps even 1 million years? You never know with the Zelda team. Either way, I do see a different possibility, namely that of goddess Hylia, who we have only seen representations of, but never the real deal. A goddess who was there every time we exchanged spirit orbs for stamina or heart containers in Breath of the Wild. She sacrificed her immortality so that her mortal incarnation, the Zeldas in the bloodline of Hylia, could wield the complete Triforce. Which would make sense seeing that Hylia made the sword of the goddess, and she might in the present restore the Master Sword to the state where it can face Ganondorf. In that instance, this might be it, as the battle in the distant past might as well have been a symbolic one that goes to the essence of this franchise. The demon, the goddess, and her chosen hero. Everything goes in 3 in the Zelda series, with the exception of one key point: the sages. And surrounding the figure that might be Hylia or the Zonai/Twilight figurehead, we see 7 swirls, or more precisely at this point, tears, following the title of the game, possibly hinting at 7 dungeons, though these still remain to be confirmed as no gameplay so far has taken place within any of these. With that being said, this 4th official appearance of Breath of the Wild sequel, from now on, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, was just as short as the previous one, well under 2 minutes, and leaves a lot of questions that we'll have to dive into across numerous videos leading towards the launch, including on how good this game looks compared to the earlier trailers, bringing more and more suspicion that this game might be tied to a more powerful Nintendo Switch model which is capable of upscaling Tears of the Kingdom, one that might launch the same day and date as the game. So be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to our channel, and press the notification bell, and again for all notifications to not miss any future videos until the release and far beyond May 12, 2023. A big thanks as always goes to our great patreon.com/Cameron patrons, and in particular to our royal producer Charles Shash. You rock, and please enjoy one or both of these 2 awesome videos.